The next important factor in personal factors is lifestyle. Now today, if you look at the marketing and the new products that are coming into the market, they are all largely lifestyle related products. The entire marketing concept is changing because of this lifestyle factor. For example, hitherto the Indian population was not much into health or fitness consciousness. But recently there was more awareness about fitness and health consciousness. So those who have crossed 25 or even the young population started fitness as a religion. They get up in the morning, they go for jogging, they play before they resume their normal activities. So for this morning fitness concept, they require special products and clothing. Even for jogging or walking or playing, you need a special gear for doing all these activities. So there is more demand. Even companies started, those in fashion started calling themselves in lifestyle activities company or lifestyle products company. So the lifestyle in the evening also after working hours has changed. It could be again fitness, or it could be leisure activities, or it could be club activities, pub activities, whatever. The leisure activities also require separate products, particularly those in fashion and apparel and accessories. There is good amount of demand because of change in lifestyle. So we have to understand what is this lifestyle. The lifestyle and psychographics is a common term that is given. A lifestyle analysis or psychographics has been embraced by the marketing practitioners in the promotion of products having diverse groups. So before they start studying the lifestyle, certain variables like activities, interests and opinions which can't be easily quantified are to be studied to understand the lifestyle and psychographics. The psychographic segmentation is the one which refers to the inner or intrinsic qualities of the individuals or consumers. Here the segmentation strategies are often based on specific psychological variables. Now depending upon the above variables like activities, interest and opinion. So we need to understand these variables, that is also called as AIO inventory, that is activities, interests and opinions inventory, in order to understand the lifestyle. The personality and lifestyle analysis, in order to understand the lifestyle, the personality also is to be understood, which we are going to deal in the next session. But normally the personality and lifestyle analysis goes hand in hand. The personality also includes how people see things, plus the activities, interests and opinions are to be studied in tandem. Now, what activities are to be studied in order to understand the lifestyle? As we were discussing, they can be defined as how a family or consumer spends time in day-to-day operations. So, the activities are how a family or a consumer spends time and resources in day-to-day operations. So, the main activities we can discuss are in terms of working. It includes all the day-to-day activities of today's consumer like cooking, gardening, washing, clothes, office, etc. How people work, how they spend time in working. The next is vocationing. Vocationing include all those activities which are done by the consumer by his or her profession, like doctors doing checkups of his patients, architects, students engaged in their studies, etc. The next activities are hobbies. All those activities that are done by a consumer in his or her leisure time, which gives a satisfaction to the consumer, that is collection of stamps, paintings, etc. The next activity could be the community. It refers to mixing of the consumer with the society, like spending time with friends, attending a birthday party or a ceremony. What are all the activities he spends with the community are relating to the community activities. Next comes the sports. All those activities that are done by the consumer which inculcates some sort of fun and thrill in it, like playing cricket, basketball, tennis, etc. The next activity, how consumers spend time, is entertainment. It includes all those activities that are done to have some mental and physical relaxation. Example, watching television, going for a movie, etc. Next activities are shopping. It has become an important activity in the life of today's consumers, as most of them prefer shopping experience as a fun-filled outing. This is the reason why the retailers try to offer something unique to their customers these days. Now, the next inventory to understand the lifestyle is interests. In order to understand it better, we can have a look on the following broad categories to understand lifestyle. The first interest is family. It is defined as two or more persons related by blood, marriage or adoption who may or may not reside together. The consumer's family significantly influence his or her buying decisions. The interest he shows on the family in turn gets reflected on his lifestyle. The other interest factor is home. Most of the consumers love to spend a large portion of their time staying at home. So, they are the people who are more family oriented and home oriented. Hence, their lifestyle would be significantly different from those who doesn't value the family and also the home. They will be spending most of the time outside. So, the next interest factor is achievements. what kind of interest you have on achievements. People who have a bent towards achieving something difficult and impossible, then the fashion. It is another significant feature in which the degree of interest varies as a consumer may be high, moderate and low fashion conscious and aware. So, the lifestyle, if a person is more interested in fashion, the products which he buys would always be latest in trend. So, the interest influences the lifestyle. Then one of the major interests for many would be food. It is important as the consumer may love cooking and serving food, but not eating it also sometimes. So, when you look at various examples, when you talk of psychographic segmentation, is the products are tailor made to suit the lifestyle of the people. You know, those who want to travel frequently, their interest is not home but traveling outside, and their activities are also relating to that. The gold credit cards, they offer, they target these customers whose lifestyle is towards traveling, spending and who want credit because suddenly they might be on move. Even the 5-star hotels also look for these kind of travels and they target them. So, the companies which are making even the credit cards or who are in the hospitality industry also can make use of the lifestyle and can target and position their products to their customers. The next inventory in assessing the lifestyle is opinion. Opinions refer to what consumers think about themselves and the world around them. So, the opinions are what consumers think about themselves and the world around them. So, opinion about themselves. It deals with what consumer actually feel about themselves and their individual responses to given set of cues. So, this is what is their opinion about themselves. It deals with what consumers actually feel about themselves and their individual responses to given set of cues. The next opinion could be on social issues. It deals with how a consumer responds to a live and ongoing social issues. Many will have opinions on many of the social issues, but it has to be the live and ongoing social issue. The opinion about politics also. It is the reaction of consumer on burning national and political issues. If you are with a party which is having Gandhian values, if your opinion is that this is the best philosophy, then your entire lifestyle and purchasing would be around the Gandhian values. The business and economics. How and what kind of opinion you have. It deals with what consumer think about the latest trend in business and how much consumers are aware of the latest hodge and nodge of economies. Then education. The opinion on education. This factor puts a check on educational aspect of the target consumers, whether they are literate, highly qualified or illiterate. What is their opinion on education matters? Then their opinion on culture. It refers to the traditional features as well as cultural background of target consumers and how this factor influences their buying behavior. The next opinion is on the future. It refers the ways in which consumer trends will evolve in nearby future period as well as long term future period. So, even the opinion on future also matters. So, what they think about the culture and future also matters. Having understood the activities, interests and opinions, we try to analyze the lifestyle. But normally the marketers do not get a chance to observe the lifestyle. The lifestyle is measured by the technique psychographics, which asks the respondents questions about what kind of activities they carry out, what kind of interest they have, what kind of opinions on various issues they have. This is on one scale. But the consumer might err or sometimes may give false information. Suppose a 80-year-old might say that his lifestyle is very hectic. He loves to go for mountaineering, go for horse riding, he would like to go to pubs, clubs, and his income, he might say, a couple of lakhs. But the checking factor of the lifestyle is demographic. So, the lifestyle has to be analyzed along with the demographics. The demographics would tell exactly whether the lifestyle is correct or not. Suppose the same case, an 80-year age, if he says he has a very active lifestyle, it is not correct. In exceptional cases, probably that might happen, but in general, an 80-year-old cannot have such kind of an active lifestyle. So, also there are certain lifestyles which a particular gender can do and particular gender may not be able to carry. And some people might say that they are indulging in particular lifestyle, but their income might be less. So, there is a mismatch. So, we have to measure the lifestyle on AIO inventory on one and on the demographic characteristics like age, gender, income, occupation, education, dwelling, geography, city size and stages in life cycle is to be cross checked. Then only we will get a holistic picture about the lifestyle of a particular individual. So, the demographics normally are used for cross checking the lifestyle. After understanding the theory on lifestyle, which is understood that in order to measure the lifestyle, you have to measure it through an AIO inventory, that is activities, interests and opinions. The next doubt or question that comes is, as a theory this is good, but did anybody apply it and did anybody classify or segment based on this lifestyle and psychographic analysis? Yes. In America, the Stanford Research Institute, that is SRI, have done a study and classified American population on the lifestyle basis. That is what is called as VALS, value and lifestyle studies. And we are going to study the VALS 2 diagram to understand the concept. Now, what the Stanford Research Institute has done in order to understand is they have tried to identify various activities, interests and opinions coupled with demographics. They have understood that instead of having so many activities, interests and opinions crossing 34 or so, they thought we will classify by filtering those factors, and we will classify again, not losing the lifestyle as a concept. They have taken the demographics and the lifestyle variables and put as on two axes. The x axis is based on the orientation and the y axis is based on the resources. See, when you filter all the activities, interests and opinions, they found that broadly people are oriented in three ways. The earlier nomenclature was the inner directed, outer directed, then action directed. But when they refined the concepts, they have come as orientation as principle oriented, status oriented and action oriented. This is on the x axis, and on y axis the resources. The resources can be in terms of age, education, money, power, etc. So, based on this classification, they have broadly classified American population into 8 segments. The 8 segments are strivers, who are at the bottom of the lifestyle graph, and in terms of principle oriented, fulfills and believers. In terms of the status oriented, achievers and strivers. In terms of action oriented, they have classified as experiencers and makers, and at the end those who have all the resources and activities, who are above all this, who are enjoying finer things, are called as actualizers. The finest things in the world are enjoyed by the actualizers. So, let us understand the characteristics of one by one segments which are based on the lifestyles. The strugglers have least resources and they are brand loyal. They have their own brands, even though they are at the bottom of the segments. They are brand loyal. They use coupons and watch for sales. They always look for discounts or free gifts which they get through coupons. They trust advertising because they are less educated. They are the only source of information and belief. They watch TV often. They read tabloid and women magazines. So, these are the characteristics of strugglers. When it comes to the principle oriented we have believers and fulfilleds. So, the believers, as the word itself says, they believe in the principles. They may or may not follow because of the resources. They want to ideally, but since they do not have resources, they are believers. They buy American, they are slow to change habits, look for bargains, watch TV more than advertising, they read retirement, home and garden magazines because resources they have less, they must have retired, and general interest magazines. So, these are the characteristics of believers. So, they are principle oriented and they are believers, they are inner directed. But those who are able to fulfill their principles or what they believe in are called as fulfilleds because of resources. They have little interest in image because they are not status oriented or external directed or prestige. Neither they have interest in the image or prestige. They allow average consumption of products for the home. They like educational and public affairs program. They read widely and often. Unlike the believers, because of their resources, they are well educated, they read more widely than the believers. The next segment who are status oriented. There are two segments. The one is strivers, because of their less resources they are strivers. They are image conscious, since they are outer directed, they are image conscious. They have limited discretionary incomes, but carry credit balances. This is the reason why many credit card companies also assess, as we have seen those who travel abroad to travel frequently, credit card companies target them. Likewise, here is a segment which is image conscious, who are willing to spend money by taking credit balances. These are the target for many of the credit card companies. They spend on clothing and personal care products. They prefer TV to reading. So, when it comes to the achievers in status, because they have achieved because of their money or other resources, the characteristics are different. They are attracted to premium products. So, any company which is trying to launch premium product can look at them. They are prime target for variety of products. They are average TV watchers, read business, home and self-help publications. So, if a company which is trying to launch particularly apparel high-end brands, these are the target, and they are average TV watchers, but whatever they watch the business and the stock market kind of programs. So, that is the time they are to be targeted. Otherwise, they read the business and news and other magazines. The next category is in terms of action oriented. They are makers and experiencers. In action, they look for thrill. Those who are with low resources are called as makers. They shop for comfort, durability, they shop for value, but they are unimpressed by luxuries. Buy the basics, listen to radio, read auto, home, mechanics, fishing and outdoor magazines. Since they do not have resources, they spend or they get thrilled by reading these magazines. But whereas those who have resources actually experience. These are the people who follow fashion and fads. So, these are the prime target for an innovative product launching fashion companies, because they want that action and they follow fashion and trends. They spend much of their disposable income on socializing. They buy on impulse because action, they want that thrill, and attend to advertising and listen to rock music. So, these are the characteristics of action oriented segment of the lifestyle segmentation. So, the last eight segments which we have seen are actualizers. They have high resources, highest resources, they will get the finer things they enjoy, and they are receptive to new products, technologies, distribution, and they are skeptical of advertising because they have so much of resources in terms of education, experience, money, advice. They do not believe in advertising. They are frequent readers of and wide readers of wide variety of publications like Scientific American, etc. They are light TV viewers. So, the lifestyle, when you apply, the American population was classified into 8 segments by the SRI, that is Stanford Research Institute, by using Walsh 2 diagram. So, this is how the marketers, after understanding consumer behavior and lifestyle, would make best use of it to get maximum benefit. The next important factor in understanding the consumer behavior is personality and self-concept. When we were discussing about the lifestyle, we have discussed that personality and lifestyle goes hand in hand. So, then we said that we are going to discuss this later. Now, what is personality? Personality is the inner psychological characteristic that both determine and reflect how a person responds to his or her environment outward. See, many times we discuss about the personality that he is rugged, he is sophisticated, he is extrovert, he is introvert, like that. Though we see in the outside, but what is personality? Whatever we are seeing is because of the inner psychological characteristics that both determine and reflect how a person responds to his or her environment. So, when we look at this definition, there are 3 things that we have to understand. The first one is the personality reflects individual differences. So, that is where we say he is rugged, he is introvert, he is extrovert, he is sophisticated, etc. So, one is introvert and another is extrovert. The one is rugged, another is sophisticated. So, having understood, the marketers will try to offer the products which match their personality. So, hence the concept of personality has to be understood in totality. So, the individual difference is the first nature of personality. The next nature of personality is it is consistent and enduring. It is consistent means it will last for long, it do not change. So, a marketer who understood the consumer personality can be rest assured that for some more time the same personality is going to continue. So, that is the reason why sometimes when the mother comments about her child that he has been impulsive from the day one, that is from childhood, means the personality of impulsiveness is continuing right from the childhood. So, that is good for marketers that personality changes, so that they can work on the personalities and develop products which match their personality. The last one is contrary to what we are discussing now. The nature of personality is also the personality can change. Now, why it is so? There are certain major events which will happen in lives with which the personality can change, like birth of the child or death of loved ones or some major event, falling in love. Those things can change the personality. See, a person who before falling in love may be an introvert, but the dear one with whom he is in love wants extrovert kind of person. So, he changes over a period from an extrovert to an introvert, an introvert to an extrovert. So, that is the reason why it says one of the characteristics of person is it can change, but it requires major events to happen in life. Now, coming to the next, how personalities are formed. Having understood the definition, we have to now understand how personalities are formed. So, there are various theories on personality. The first one is the Sigmund Freud theory. Sigmund Freud theory is the unconscious needs or drives are at the heart of human motivation. The Sigmund Freud theory says the unconscious needs or drives, particularly sexual, are at the heart of human motivation. The second theory says the Neo-Freudian theory, it is called as. The Neo-Freudian personality theory says it is the social relationships which are fundamental to the formation and development of personality. The social relationships which are fundamental to the formation and development of personality. There is one more theory which says it is the traits which make the personality. It is called as the quantitative approach to personality as a set of psychological traits. Now, let us understand the first theory, that is called the Sigmund Freud or Freudian theory. The Sigmund Freud or the Freudian theory talks of personality formation as an interaction, an interrelationship of three factors, that is id, ego and superego interactions. That is also called as the system 1, system 2, system 3. The interaction of these 3 systems are at the heart of personality formation. Now, what is system 1? The system 1 is called the id. So, the systems are to be understood in detail. Now, as we were telling, the system 1 is id, the system 2 is superego, and the system 3 is ego. This is system 1, system 2 and system 3. So, these are the systems which interact and decide what type of personality. Now, say for example, the id, the system 1 is, it is a warehouse of primitive and impulsive drives, particularly sexual. The id is selfish. It does not regard or care for consequences. So, id says just do it, whatever you want to do, you just do it. The second system is called as superego. It is a counterweight to id. Its internal expression of society's moral and ethical codes of conduct. Just id says irrespective of consequences, just do it. The superego is a counterweight. It is the society's moral expressions of values and its counterweights. It always says don't do it. It says do it and superego says don't do it. Then what is the via media? Is called as the ego. It is the individual's conscious control. It is individual's conscious control. The ego tries to balance these two opposing forces of id and superego. Say for example, I take suppose somebody feels like it is a biological need, wants to go for toilet on the road. When he is traveling on the road, he feels like urinating. The id says you just do it irrespective of the consequences. The superego says no, 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 don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Then what is the way out? The ego comes into picture. It says okay, let us go behind a tree or behind a wall, or we will go to a place where nobody is there. So, it tries to balance the id and superego. Now, what we learn from this is all the 3 systems are there in all human beings, but what is dominant at that particular point of time is the personality of that person. That is why some we say impulsive, some we say as balanced, some we say as rational, or very timid, conscious, fearful, etc., etc. So, these type of personalities are the result of the systems and its dominance in a person. So, this is what Sigmund Freud says. So, the id is a warehouse of primitive and impulsive drives, and the behavior is guided by the primary desire to maximize pleasure and avoid pain. The id is selfish, illogical and ignore consequences. The superego is a person's conscience and moral voice. It actively opposes the id. It sees that individual satisfies needs in a socially acceptable fashion, whereas the ego is the system that mediates conflict between the id and the superego. The ego finds ways to gratify the id that will be acceptable to the outside world. Now, when we look at the Sigmund Freud and marketing, researchers believe that the human drives are largely unconscious and consumers are unaware of reasons for buying what they buy. That is the reason, everybody has id in them and they are unaware. So, that is the reason why whenever there is an ad with sex, we get instantaneously get attention and interest. So, that is the reason why many marketers use sex as an appeal and tries to attract the attention of the target consumers. So, this is what in most of the cases the marketers tries to apply. And when it comes to superego, the insurance and finance companies talks about the superego system in us. So, they target the persons based on that superego system. When we go to the next, it would be talking about the Neo-Freudian theory. The Neo-Freudian theory, as we have seen, talks about the social relationship, particularly the parent and child relationships. Karen Horney, CAD theory, talks about this. Using the context of child-parent relationships, individuals desire to conquer feelings of individuality. So, the individual desire to conquer feelings of individuality is reflected in the personalities. Now, when we classify this, we see three kinds of personalities. That is why it is CAD theory. The first one is compliant personality. The second one is aggressive personality. The third one is detached personality. Who is a compliant personality? The one who desires to be loved, wanted and appreciated by others. He is the one who is compliant. He always does things which would make him to be closer to the loved ones, and he always is wanted and appreciated by others. The second one is aggressive personality. Here one moves against or competes with others, and they desire to excel and win admiration. Unlike compliant, he is slightly aggressive, he competes and he wants to excel and moves against. So, this is aggressive personality. The detached personalities is the one who seeks emotional or behavioral freedom from others. He desires independence, self-sufficiency and freedom from obligation. The many advertisements will talk about this detached. They say everybody is following, would you also like to follow? You want to be one among the cattle or herd? There are some which says, follow what everybody else in the society is doing, so comply. So, depending upon the personalities, the products are marketed and positioned accordingly. The next theory is called as the trait theory, which also helps in formation of personalities. What is a trait? Any distinguishing, relatively enduring way in which one individual differs from others. It is any distinguishing, relatively enduring way in which one individual differs from one another. The trait theory is an individual characteristic ways of responding to the social and physical environment. Though there are many traits, we will talk about what is relevant to the marketing and marketers. That is innovativeness. We want to see as a consumer whether they accept the new products or our products, whether they buy the products will be measured by the innovativeness, materialism and ethnocentrism. In the global context, we also have to look at the trait called ethnocentrism, that is consumers' likelihood to accept and reject foreign made products. Now, when we talk about the innovativeness as a trait, there are certain characteristics which make innovators different from non-innovators. It is consumer innovativeness. Now, when we talk about the consumer research, the consumers themselves say that they are innovative or not. So, that is what is consumer innovativeness. The dogmatism, it measures the degree of rigidity versus openness. Social character, whether the person is inner directed or adds that stress product features, or outer directed who prefers ad that have social acceptance and features, that is status. Whether the person is over and above the optimum stimulation level, that is OSL, and willing to take risks to be innovative. Need for uniqueness, who avoids conformity to others' expectations and standards, both in appearance or in possessions. Sensation seeking, that is willingness to take social and physical risks. Variety and novelty seeking in terms of exploratory purchase behavior, vicarious explorations, use innovativeness in the products. So, all these characteristics makes a person innovative as a trait. So, once these are there, the consumers are open for new products or new brands or any products that comes from the marketers. There is one more character among the learned consumers in terms of the cognitive personality factors. There are some consumers who are having more need for cognition. That is, it measures the person's craving for enjoyment of thinking. They enjoy thinking, they want more information for processing and thinking. There are also some who are called as visualizers. They do not want information in bits and bytes, but what they want is in terms of pictures they want to visualize. Strong visual dimensions. They are verbalizers. There are some who want verbal information and they raise question and they want to get an answer for that. The next trait is consumer materialism. The materialistic possessions which make them happy or feel proud is what is called as the consumer materialism. There are certain societies which are consumers who are materialistic, who value possessions, and there are some who do not value. And even in the consumer materialism, there are some who are fixated to the materialistic possessions. They frequently display and openly share some of the possessions. It could be in terms of the many girls, particularly girl child, would prefer a Barbie doll as a possession they collect and showcases. Or there are some who are compulsive consumption behaviors they exhibit. It is in the realm of normal behavior, but they are addicted to uncontrollable shopping, gambling, smoking, alcoholism. These are all some of the compulsive consumer behaviors. Now, in what way this is going to help the marketers? The personalities of people, once they understand, would try to have the products or brands which match them. The consumers subscribe to the notion of brand personality. That is, they attribute various descriptive personalities like traits or characteristics to different brands. And brand personifications are specific or personality type traits or characteristics ascribed by consumers to different brands. Say one is rugged, would prefer a rugged jeans brand like Levi's, Lee, Wrangler. The one who is risk taking would look for thumbs up. The one is sophisticated would prefer to buy brands that is formal, Raymond, Park Avenue, etc. So, the brand personalities, if somebody thinks that he is rugged and macho, would also prefer to buy a Harley Davidson or would buy a product that reflects his macho and rugged image. So, there are other issues in the brand personality also. The product personality and gender, product personality and geography, personality and color. How consumers use brand personality is in terms of product and gender, we would be surprised to see even among coffee and tea, when there was a study done in China, one is equated with masculinity and other is equated with femininity. So, the products, so when we talk of pleasure scooter, many would equate that with feminism. When we talk of motorcycles, consumers say that it is masculine. So, the products are classified as masculine and feminine. So, the product and gender also plays a major role in buying a product of their personality. Now, going to the next, we will see the brand personality and gender. Volvo is, the personality is safety and reliability. Nike, the athletic in all of us. Levi's is dependable, rugged, real and authentic. The coffee and toothpaste are masculine. Soap and shampoo are feminine. So, the consumers have rated. Then when it comes to personality, it also, consumers' color preferences varies as per the personality of the consumer. Now, when we look at some of the cases, we can see that the blue, it reflects the personality in terms of commands, respect and authority. Yellow is cautious, novelty and warmth. The green is natural, secure, relaxed and living things. Red is exciting, hot, passionate, strong personality. The orange is affordable, informal, powerful. The brown is goodness, purity and chastity. White is again is purity, chastity. The black is sophistication, power, authority and mystery. That is why many luxury brands, in order to show that luxuriness, uses black as a color. The silver, gold, platinum are regal, wealthy and stately personalities. So, the color and personality also goes hand in hand. So, in order to be successful in the market, even the colors that are to be used for a particular personality varies from personality to personality in the market, because the consumer tastes and preferences vary as per their personality in terms of even color. The next concept, we are trying to assess what kind of personality the consumers are. But we also have to understand what consumer thinks about himself. This is what is called as self-concept. The self-concept looks at what the consumer thinks about himself, so that this will not be missed by the marketers when they make products or market products to the consumers. So, the self concept is the overall image that a person holds of him or herself. So, it is the overall image that a person holds of him or herself. The self concept emerges out of our impressions about ourselves, as well as from others' impression of us. So, here the self concept, the consumer is very conscious that he will think from these two perspectives. The one is our impression about ourselves, as well as from others' impression on us, the beauty of the self concept. That is why there are various self concepts. The first one is actual self image. The next one is ideal self image. The next is social self image, ideal social self image, expected self image, the virtual personality or self. Consumers often wish to change themselves to become a different or improved self by grooming, clothing, cosmetics, jewelry, etc. So, the expression of self is more popular in Western cultures. Now, when we look at these, what is actual self or a private self? It involves those images that one has of oneself about which one feels protective, how consumers see themselves actually. The self-consistency motive, doing things that are consistent with one's own self-image. Now, ideal self-image, how consumers would like to be ideally. By acquiring products consistent with their ideal self-image, consumers may boost their self-esteem. Self-esteem motive is at work here. How they actually would like to be, that is ideal self-image. The social self-image, how we believe that other people see us. The social consistency motive is present. Then ideal social self-image, how consumers would like others to see him. The social approval motive is working here, doing things that would cause others to think highly of them. So, the products which they buy would be as per that ideal social self-image. So, when we look at all these, we have to look at what a consumer thinks about himself and what products would make them, and transforming to that self-image is to be understood. So, when we look at these self-concepts, what is more relevant to the marketers is not only about these self-concepts, how to overcome if somebody wants to, ought to be self-concept. There is always gap between what he is and where he wants to reach. Consumer always thrives and strives to reach that level. There is another concept called as expected self. In expected self, he would over a period of time would want to reach that expected self. Suppose a consumer may be thinking that they are reasonably beautiful, but they want to look like Aishwarya Rai, who is either ideal or they expect to reach that level. So, all the products that Aishwarya Rai endorses or supports and says this is what made me to become this beautiful, they will try to buy. There is another concept called as extended self. With the usage of certain products, with the assistance of some products, if you can overcome and become what you want to, then this is called as extended self. Suppose I am poor in calculation, but I want to be very good in terms of analysis or analytics. Either the computer or the laptop or a calculator would help me in overcoming that deficiency if I am poor in that. I want to project as a very sophisticated personality, but I am looking rugged. So, what makes me to look, with the usage of some products, help of some products, what makes me to look sophisticated? Either the coat, tie, suit and a laptop, all these would make me to look sophisticated. So, with the help of certain products, if I can overcome that deficiency in self, that is called as the extended self. And there is another concept called altering self. Now, I am feeling very inferior because I am old, my hair has grayed, I have tummy and my skin is wrinkled. So, how can I regain confidence and alter myself? By using certain bariatric treatments or usage of certain creams, or by coloring my hair, or through liposuction, I can regain that self. So, this is called as altering self. So, there is a lot of demand for the products today catering to these self concept. They are making millions and billions of business. So, by understanding the consumer behavior in terms of personality and self concept, the marketer can give products which matches their personality or matches their expectation in terms of what they think about themselves, that is catering to the self concept. So, this is where the marketers use the consumer behavior in terms of the personal factors.